Hi, I'm Thibaut. I work in climate finance, helping nature-based projects get money. A few weeks ago, I traveled across Southeast Asia to see how it all works on the ground, meeting project developers, communities, and interviewing around 10 people on different climate finance mechanisms to fund their projects. So let's go with this episode, the fourth one: can protecting and restoring nature pay for itself? So this episode is going to focus on the second challenge, ensuring internal economic viability. And first, we're going to dive into cash crops and sustainable livelihoods. Agroforestry brings both income and resilience. By growing coffee, cacao, jackfruit, or durian under restored forest, farmers can earn while protecting nature. It's a way to make conservation tangible, where protecting the forest becomes a livelihood, not a sacrifice. So they don't just plant trees, they plant economies. And what is great is that cash crops can feed both carbon and cash. But there are some barriers of entry at the beginning, and local communities can't do it alone all the time. And what could be the most valuable lesson learned from the operational side?
When we started our tree planting project over a decade ago, one of the biggest challenges was the lack of market. Well, it basically didn't exist. At that time, we were also working with fewer tree varieties, and the model just wasn't attractive enough for the farmers to join. So over time, we shifted our approach and now offer a more diverse and appealing combination of crops, making the program more relevant to farmers' needs and local market potential.
And now the farmers want to be part of it.
Karena saya ingin ikut ini supaya dapat penghasilan dan juga supaya tanah kita bisa berguna dan bagus.
But of course, it's not without risks. Not only because you can actually fall while harvesting cassava, which have an amazing taste, by the way. It's like fried potatoes in the pan. But also because there are some challenges that you need to take into account. Because farming under forest cover means working with nature and sometimes against it. That leads to knowing what are the biggest operational challenges that they face in their projects.
From an operational standpoint, I'd say logistics and land competition are major challenges, especially with monoculture plantations and mining. We work with smallholder farmers in remote areas, so the project must offer real economic value to be sustainable. But that's difficult when there are no reliable off-takers nearby, and we have to think years ahead to build a functioning value chain.
Another challenge is the changing weather patterns. Rainy seasons are becoming less predictable, in part due to climate change, and this directly impacts various plantations, including tree crops. But do project developers have challenges related to climate change in their projects?
And in relation to the climate change, also it makes me confused sometimes because I don't know when the rainy season will start or when the dry season will start.
Salah satu tantangan terbesar kami untuk kegiatan planting season adalah cuaca ekstrim, yang mana kita bisa mengambil contoh pada tahun tanam sebelumnya. Kita mengalami cukup banyak kendala mulai dari operasional kita karena kondisi musim hujan yang sangat-sangat singkat sehingga sangat mempengaruhi dari operasional kita. Salah satu contohnya bisa kita ambil mortality kita sangat-sangat tinggi yang sangat-sangat mempengaruhi dari kualitas dari kegiatan tanam kita.
But beyond coffee or cacao, there is space for innovation too. It's about designing business models that work with tradition and not against it. So, for instance, some do grafting to ensure good quality fruit and also to be able to sell the seeds at a higher price.
The young part from the mother of trees can work.
Some projects now combine traditional cash crops with new models. So one of the recommendations is to pair timber with choosing cash crops that are also contributing to carbon sequestration, and include trees that farmers may eventually harvest, along with fruit trees such as rambutan or durian. Some actors also reduce the number of middlemen. Sometimes there are 5 to 6 steps or intermediaries before fish or seaweeds are sold. Instead, they focus on higher value revenue streams like biochar, essential oil, etc. There are many, and we will look at those now. This is the second part of the second challenge, focusing on additional revenue streams. You can indeed imagine new business models. Some project developers, for instance, generate part of their income through advisory or consulting. For a project developer I met, which was actually more of a research NGO, about 5 to 10% of their non-grant revenue comes from providing trainings and advisory to some different partners such as WWF Singapore, Yale University, or even the European Commission. Others focus on doing consulting specifically to help project developers apply for grants. Since accessing funds from mechanisms like the Green Climate Fund can be quite complex, they assist developers by guiding them through proposal writing and application processes. Communities can generate income from restored ecosystem through diverse products also. You can see it on the videos I took, from mangrove honey and seafood to sustainable wood, traditional crafts, livestock products, and resources like seaweed, compost, or essential oils. And in agroforestry system, the list grows even further. Cacao, coffee, ginger, and many more species adapted to the landscapes. It's about innovation at local scale, adapted to the different environment that you are working on. But for that, you need to think of a business model that really works for the farmers, of course, and that is good enough to convince them to join. Here you can see me, for instance, doing some batik in Indonesia, for instance, which is a value-added product from mangroves. But out of all those business models, what is the one that makes this project attractive for the farmers?
At Good Forest Indonesia, we have been very deliberate in choosing crops that are financially viable and offer multiple income stream over time. Since 2023, we have introduced a mix of commodities that farmers can harvest at different intervals. For example, for the long-term crops like sengon, jabon, and belangiran, and then for medium terms, we have jengkol, petai, and cacao. For the short terms, we try a patchouli used for essential oil and some vegetable seeds.
We can see it here. Patchouli needs, for example, some infrastructures to work, like this factory, and is used to produce oil afterwards. But let's talk finances now, because that's always, of course, the big question, since many farmers are wondering when they will actually start earning money. And for those project developers and farmers that I saw in Indonesia, this variable of financing was, of course, directly linked to their choices of selling their land to the palm oil industry or to gold mining industries as well. So, are the farmers getting their money straight away then?
Many farmers are concerned about when they will actually start earning money. With this model, they don't have to wait for 10 or 15 years like with timber. For example, patchouli after 8 months and cacao after 3 years. Bean around 5 years, and sengon can generate revenue after 7 years. So there are different timelines. And we also connect them with the off-taker in different regions to sell their product.
But it doesn't work all the time. I also saw some local communities that turn into palm oil because it pays now and it pays fast. So there is a real economic dilemma between short-term economical revenues and long-term nature protection. And it's really not because people aren't being consulted. They are. I went to some projects where formal MOUs have been signed before the project and after the beginning of the project, but it doesn't stop everything. It's like with carbon leakage, when you properly calculate or when you tell the local communities that are around your project that they shouldn't cut, it doesn't mean that it will prevent them for years doing it. So, to make sure you convince the different farmers, you have to forecast revenues generated from agroforestry-related services, like cacao, coffee, because it can represent a big part of your business plan. But how do project developers forecast revenues generated from agroforestry-related activities then?
We take 5 steps to forecast the revenue of agroforestry. First step is to identify revenue generating components. The step 2 is to estimate yield volume. We calculate the total yield volume by multiplying the crop production per hectares with total land area for each commodities. Step 3 is to forecast the market price using historical data, future markets, or conservative baseline. Step 4 is sensitivity analysis. This analysis account volatility price and climate impact. Step 5 is supply chain analysis to see the opportunities to identify how the market price and the stronger bargain position of the farmer.
And what's amazing is that this kind of system keeps the project sustainable, even if external funding stops, and for a lot of projects for this kind. For instance, a mangrove project in South Sulawesi had crab and shrimp aquaculture, but seaweed was the main product, harvested monthly and sold through local intermediaries to Korea and Vietnam. Then, in what way do project developers model empower local communities beyond farming?
Later on, after we're gone, or with our guidance, they're gonna try to either buy the equipment or make their own carbonizer, the kiln to make the biochar. And after that, after we're gone, hopefully they could make their own biochar.
Try to produce our own coffee, and then of course this will create a job opportunity for the locals. Yeah, and we will try to buy some coffee from other farmers in Tanah Toraja, with of course with good price. Yeah, because I'm a farmer, so I can feel what they feel. Yeah, and hopefully that's this way. I mean, these activities again can continue supporting this project. Yeah, that's the dream.
And that's really the beauty of it. The impact doesn't stop when the project does. It keeps living thanks to project developers and thanks to the farmers and the tools that they have learned to use. And that's exactly what companies are trying to measure, the long-term value. And that leads to a different advice given for entities that want to invest in nature. The first advice would be look beyond ecology. When companies invest in nature, the first instinct is to look at ecological results. But most experts told me the same thing. A good project isn't just ecological. It works when governance is solid, when communities benefit, and when the economics make sense. Second advice, support people, not just trees. And planting trees is not just planting trees. It's training, logistics, soil, water, and long-term maintenance. So for instance, please don't just drop seedlings like some concessions do. You have to train, maintain, put nurseries for the communities. And the third advice is linked to that: equip communities for long-term success. Funding is important, of course, but equipment is what truly supports long-term sustainable income, such as marine survey tools or seedling nurseries. In 3 projects in Indonesia I went to, buyers and grain providers supplied machinery that enabled teams to work effectively and build real capacity with the villagers. And finally, demand transparency, not perfection. Don't ask for perfection regarding your own terms. What matters is more transparency, really. Because being honest is far more valuable than pretending everything is alright and perfect. For instance, in this project that you can see here, some mangroves died because of abrasion. So then the field officer was taking pictures to show it to their funders.
The biggest lesson that we have learned is always be transparent, share what is working and also what is not working.
Transparency is a really big topic in the climate finance space, of course, and especially for the next climate finance mechanism that we're going to focus on now, which is carbon credits. Scam or solution? That will be treated in the next episode.
My advice to other project developers on raising capital would be twofold. Firstly, look at larger scale ambitious projects because in my experience negotiating with investors is
And to make sure that the projects really reach high integrity level, the other advice is actually a really capital one. What we need to keep in mind is that not all carbon credits are created equal, and the real challenge is ensuring integrity.